$1.6 billion of assets are about to flood the market. It's things like this that confirm my bearish stance on the market. We've got a lot to discuss, guys, so let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Hi guys, welcome back to another walk and talk video, and I'm just grabbing the camera, getting away from the desk and getting some exercise, talking to you guys about what is going on in the crypto space. And man, do we have some concerns coming out in the mainstream crypto media most recently, right? We've got a few things to discuss, specifically when it comes to these bankrupt companies liquidating their assets, right? And there's a lot of concern that we should have here. We can see that Genesis have filed for request to the SEC, I believe, to basically liquidate $1.6 billion worth of assets. Now, this is to be expected. Obviously, you know, a lot of these bankrupt firms, they're in the green, quite hefty amounts of green. FTX have also kind of filed to liquidate assets to take advantage of the market conditions being a little bit more bullish at the moment, i.e. the markets have pumped up and a lot of these bankrupt companies are now looking to try to liquidate their assets at a premium. Lots of accusations, lots of emotions have been flying around with this as well. Although this isn't anything new, we've kind of been talking about it since, well, pretty much 2023. All of the moves in 2023 that were unnatural, basically after March 2023, a lot of the moves to the upside were very suspicious, you know, not really backed by significant volume. The price was moved up basically from the exchanges withdrawing BTC, basically forcing there to be an imbalance in the supply demand. We've kind of been through all of that. So the accusations right now are that a lot of these bankrupt companies are profiteering from the current market conditions. We can argue, and we have argued, that maybe they're even behind some of the most recent moves when it comes to BTC. Basically, the withdrawal of Bitcoin from the exchanges, forcing that supply-demand issue, pushing price of Bitcoin higher, has now put them into pretty positive positions. A lot of FOMO activity on the back of this from retail investors, and of course the ones who are holding the majority of the Bitcoin right now, and are unfortunately the ones that are going to be paying a significant price on their assets. And we're going to see, in my opinion, a pretty significant drop in the price of BTC. Now, these applications for liquidation of these assets have yet to be approved, but knowing the US government and knowing the kind of the way that they're out there to protect the retail investor, I imagine they'll get approved. And of course, that's going to mean that we're going to see so much sell pressure on the market for Bitcoin right now. Let's put this into context so we can kind of get ourselves into the right kind of frame of mind of what's potentially going to unfold. We saw Grayscale liquidating some of their assets most recently. I think they had liquidated 130,000 Bitcoin. So you were talking Grayscale territory with a number of BTC that was liquidated from Grayscale. Now we've got Genesis looking to basically liquidate their Grayscale holdings as well, right? So these are Bitcoin, ETH, and so forth. Now that 1.6 billion is going to flood the market quite aggressively, and it is going to have a very negative impact, specifically as we start to see more inflows to the exchanges. Now, there could be a couple of saving graces when it comes to these assets. If they are sold off at a slight discount, you might see a lot of over-the-counter trading. And if we do see some over-the-counter trades for Bitcoin and Ethereum, then we might find ourselves, you know, being saved by some of the whales who are looking to accumulate cheap Bitcoin. Now, those over-the-counter trades will be below market value. And some of these participants, these billionaires, multimillionaires, institutions that maybe are going to consider over-the-counter opportunities, they could still liquidate those on the open market later at a premium price. So I think when I was last reading, I think most of the liquidations and the options are at 65% of the face value, which basically means that anyone who's looking at those over-the-counter trades could be looking at a 35% premium just to liquidate it on the open market instantaneously. So although there could be this over-the-counter opportunity and that saves the majority of that Bitcoin just flooding the open market, dragging the price of Bitcoin down, we also have to be very mindful that there's going to be some people out there that can just instantaneously make 35% by doing the over-the-counter trade opportunities with some of these bankrupt firms. Now, Grayscale's appointed administrators have been accused of profiteering as well. Those guys have basically been making an absolute fortune on the backs of the retail investors and the creditors of FTX, and they've been kind of called out for it. Whether that will actually amount to anything, probably not. We do often see that the market and these kind of individuals, these lawyers and these administration firms, they're kind of like vampires. They're blood-sucking vermin, ultimately, sucking up all of that, or a large chunk of the liquidity that should go to the actual creditors or the people who are most affected by the FTX collapse, right? Instead, you see this profiteering going on where they have, enormous fees and have been paid a stupid amount of money to go through the legal processes when it comes to the liquidation event of FTX, right, and the administration and bankruptcy of FTX Chapter 11, right? So the amount of money that was being paid to those guys is criminal, in my opinion, and shouldn't be allowed. These things should be capped. I know it sounds almost like a dictatorship at that point, but it really doesn't feel fair. It feels very disingenuous that these guys are able to charge what they are and are able to get away with it. That's money that was never FTX's. It was the investors' money, and it's being utilized very poorly. Obviously, this isn't new. We all know this. We've been around for a while. Anyone who's kind of around in 2022 will be very fully aware of what is going on here. But yeah, it does feel very, very criminal. But all in all, I think with everything that's going on with Genesis, FTX, it kind of does confirm, even Grayscale with the liquidations, stuff that's been going on there, 130 Bitcoin, 130,000 Bitcoin. It does feel that we're on the right side of the argument, right? Yes, I've been bearish for way too long. I don't like being bearish. I do think that the long term, we are bullish, but in the kind of the medium term, we are bearish. We have to be, considering all of these things that are yet to unfold. We do have Evergrande going into liquidation. That's going to have a huge knock-on effect. The Federal Reserve will only pivot and reduce their rates when the market is at its worst, and you're going to see a lot more seller pressure there. I spoke about this morning about retail investors, that potentially 30% of them might succumb to selling pressure, and I still believe that to be the case. And all of these things with $1.6 billion worth of assets, basically flooding the market, Evergrande, Fed pivot, potential for World War III, FTX, Genesis. There's so many things that are not looking great for the cryptocurrency market. If you want to know a little bit more about the on-chain analytics and the kind of things that I was talking about in terms of whales buying and obviously retail investors looking to sell, then why not check out this video right here where I'm discussing all of the on-chain analytics. If you've missed it, check it out. I don't think you'll regret it.